So, when I say water, it's interesting that today in the last probably 6 to 8 years, much research has gone into water as to what water is capable of. Today modern science has recognized that water has memory. If you give it a certain thought, this cup of water, it will remember.
The reverence and regard for the five elements in the Eastern cultures led to some very specific lifestyle choices for the citizens. Can you give us some specific examples of how that manifested itself for sleeping and eating and farming and parenting, and what are some specific examples of how they lived in sync with nature?
So when you say five elements, these are the ingredients of life. This human being is just a product of five elements, so is the planet, so is the whole creation. The most fundamental aspect of yoga is referred to as bhuta shuddhi. Bhuta shuddhi means cleansing of the elements. So we are essentially talking about four elements and their manifestations. We are living the space. There are certain things which you can do with space, but it doesn't need any cleansing. So the four elements need cleansing. How these four elements behave within you will determine your health, longevity, psychological balance, spiritual possibilities, mystical access, everything is determined by how you keep the four elements within the system. 72% of your body is water, another 12% is earth, another 6% is air, another 4% is fire, the remaining is space. If you know how to keep these four elements, then your well-being, your health, your longevity, your ability to determine how long you should live and when you should live, all these things are 100% in your hands. You become a master of your own destiny. If you just control the waters in the system, phenomenal things will happen. Always there's a large focus on water because 72% of the body is water. You must understand, this body is just a product of this planet. 72% of the planet itself is water. If you want to look for life somewhere where there is no life right now or where we cannot spot life right now, the first thing we look for is presence of water. And it is the only miraculous element found on this planet which is naturally available in all the three states of being solid, liquid and gaseous at the same time. So, when I say water, it's interesting that today in the last probably 6 to 8 years, much research has gone into water as to what water is capable of. Today modern science has recognized that water has memory. If you give it a certain thought, this cup of water, it will remember. If you give it a positive thought or a negative thought, a positive emotion, negative emotion, it actually remembers. We've always been aware of this. So, in the East, even today, even in cities if you come to homes, except those who've been Western educated, in all their homes, water is treated in a certain way. We never drink water which straight comes out of a pipe or a fountain. We always hold it in a brass vessel or a copper vessel, and we worship the water overnight and leave it there at least for 8 hours, then only we consume. Today modern scientists are saying this, if water is pumped through the pipe, if it takes 50 turns, bends, let's say it's pure nice water, 50 bends if it is forcefully pumped through the pipe, 60% of it turns in a molecular way unpalatable to the human body. It becomes poisonous in some way. The chemical structure will not change, but the molecular structure will change. If you keep it there for about 20 to 40 minutes, it will undo itself. But straight from the pump if you drink, you are causing immense damage to the system. This is modern science. We have always known this, if you bring water, you must place it in one place, they will apply certain so-called sacred paste and other things on the vessel, they will worship it, give the best thoughts to it, leave it there for some time and then only drink. Some British company has come up with this is called as a water imploder. We are trying to bring it to our farmers in India. This implodes water in a certain way and changes the molecular structure, then after that if you feel the water, it feels silky. You might have felt this. Say, you feel the water in the stream, how it feels. And then, let's say it falls down a waterfall, not everywhere, in some places. It falls down from a waterfall at a certain height with a certain force. After that, the same stream you touch the water, it'll feel silky because water is imploding itself by falling with a certain force upon a rock or something. So this is done in a machine and we find the growth rate of the plants will go up considerably. Almost 22% excess growth has been noticed with the same amount of water. Or you can reduce the water that you give to the farm by about 47% if you implode the water. The water that the plant needs will come down dramatically simply because the molecular structure of the water has changed. We live in a tropical country where it's hot and we sweat. Nobody, you will never see any Indian carrying a water bottle and walking around. Here…
You can't go to the market without carrying a water bottle.
Without water bottle, they'll fall down.
Have a drink before you leave the house, folks.
So the way you treat the water is very, very important. Just constantly drinking water has many, wrong things happening in the system. If you drink a certain volume of water at once, the body will determine how much to absorb and how much not. But if you sip it constantly, body will get confused and start absorbing more than it should. So this will bring down the concentration of sodium in the blood level and a certain level of brain swelling will happen. But you will not feel headache. If you do not drink water, the sodium content increases and then there is a swelling where you will feel headache. So you think just because you have a headache, you think you must sip water. If you sip water all the time, it has various other kinds of imbalances. Excess water consumption, not just by ingestion, excess water absorption in the body will lead to various kinds of psychological imbalances. In yogic system, always there is a taboo on drinking water in between. If you drink water now, till you feel thirsty, you should not drink water. When you feel thirsty, you must wait for 15 to 20 minutes and then drink water. How much should you drink? Just to quench your thirst, another 10% more. Just in case you are not feeling things out, 10% more than what you need and nothing more. Constantly drinking water in a country which is not even warm and sweaty. So, like this, our understanding of life is all becoming accumulated knowledge, not feeling life out, not knowing life from within. Life happens from within, all experience happens from within, but we want to cull the knowledge from outside. So treating the water in a certain way, around us and within us, this is all it is. The fundamental of yoga is just this, cleansing the four elements and treating these elements with a certain reverence and a certain way of approach, because now beyond doubt it is established that water has memory. If you treat it badly, it remembers and gets back at you. It gets into you and works from inside.